Stats on Ricky?
Obviously, ankle sprain. It's the positive news. It's not a high ankle sprain. It's just kind of day to day. So we're today managing him inside. He's doing a lot of work to try to get the swelling down. He's doing some work on some of our modified training tools to try to, again, just get the swelling out. Doesn't have a lot of pain, so tomorrow he'll be on the field, and we'll see how far along he is and how ready he might be for the weekend. So we remain optimistic to see where we're at. So, but it's planned today that he wouldn't be out in training and that he's doing his work inside.
So, how close were you to taking him out the other night?
I had many thoughts during the course of it, on whether to keep him on and see if he can create something on the attacking side and how we were managing things. Because really the problems for me came more on the defensive side. You kind of lose a guy at times on the defensive side, and I felt like that was it. So I was trying to find the balance between. The other part was because we had to make a sub really early with Chris. Inside of it, the only option that I was thinking is, okay, halftime, do we make a change? Because then I don't use another one of my windows. But at halftime, we did a retape. He felt like he could continue to go. And then I wanted one more try at it, which was when I put the two forwards on the field, was to keep him on, to give him another target ahead and see if he could unlock one of those guys. But as it progressed, I started to realize that we just needed to get some of the running, the legs ahead of it, something a little bit different on the defensive side. And then we made an adjustment. But I was trying to live with the things that he's capable of doing. Obviously, he was limited in his ability to accelerate and do some of that, but there were still some moments that he was creating inside of it.
And he probably didn't want to come off anyway. That's another concern.
No, I mean he's a warrior. Yeah. He wants to, but he's never really going to ask to come off. And so it's for me to also kind of evaluate that process and try to make the right decision. But it was something that for sure was constantly processing through my mind over the course of it. If I would have made an earlier sub, it would have been a very different group than we saw at the end, probably. So it's a catch-22. It probably doesn't end up being Johnny and Dayon and Mikey and that group who were very attacking at the end. It probably ends up being something a little bit more of a midfield swap if I'm doing it a little bit earlier. So there's always the pros and cons of all of these things, and I was processing it for the entire time I was watching. Also for his safety, just whether he was going to be making it worse or going to hurt himself further or limit us our ability to have him down the road. But when he's saying that he's okay and not necessarily getting worse and any of that stuff, then I'm also living with a little bit of his input and advice through the process as
well. Chris Mavinga, what's his status?
Chris has growing. It's a growing strain. Not sure quite on severity yet. Obviously, he wasn't out training today, but I'll know more because he's going to have a scan today just to give us a better image of what it is that we're exactly dealing with.
And Douglas is back out today. What's his status for the weekend?
Douglas is ready. Trained yesterday full. He trained today full. He'll be involved on the weekend.
The last couple of games, you guys, 10 goals, I think?
Yeah.
3 goals.
We're talking for or against?
Against.
Okay. Because we've kind of...
Yeah, I mean, it's like, hey.
I understand. No, it's far too many.
Yeah.
Again, as I said to the guys, the low-hanging fruit for us, and it always hasn't been so easy through the course of the season, is to eliminate the goals that we're giving up. And I think there are multiple reasons behind that. I think it starts with, again, us being more aware and diligent and responsible about how we lose the ball, where we lose the ball, what that looks like, and our organization discipline behind it to manage transition moments. We've got to make better decisions defensively in some of the transition moments to deal with situations that sometimes when it's a new group, when you're having constant changes in the back line, and a lot of our guys we've had a ton of time to work with together and create relationships, partnerships, and standards in some of these situations, then I feel like some of our reading and dealing with these situations hasn't been great, so we're trying to address some of that even this week. And then just in our set defending, just our connections and making sure we're moving together. I thought for sure in this game the other night, we were passive in our ability to get to the ball, but we were our wide guys are still too high in their defensive posture, which just opened up all kinds of space between our lines, and they were able to slip balls between us, and now they're attacking us, switching the play. And then we didn't manage those situations well. So again, it comes in all phases of the defending side, including when we lose the ball. All of those different areas, we need to be tighter and make better decisions and be cleaner. And so it's things we've looked at and have been working on. And if we can clean that up, I think our chance creation, our goal scoring, those things over this stretch have been very solid. And so collectively, we just have to work together better and be individually more responsible in some of these moments.
What do you think that is, the creation of this? I mean, it's a long season, of course. At some point, the goals will go in. But why do you think this now they're going in now? What have you seen tactically from the group the last couple weeks?
I think there's a couple different things. I think from the beginning of the year to now, we've had some new faces in the attack. I think there is a clarity and a comfort level of what we're trying to do to create goal-scoring moments. I think we are being more unselfish about our movement in front of the box, and I don't mean that in a harsh way, but I think sometimes we go to the spot where we want to play the ball, but we need the runner to clear the space and to make a run that's unselfish to open up the space for somebody else. I think we're getting better movement inside of the box that is creating more clear chances for us. I think we have been more effective in different phases of the game too. We're starting to get some goals off of set pieces. We're starting to get some goals where mid-season in this stretch we started to get some goals in transition that we weren't getting at the beginning of the year. And I think also, as we saw the other night, we've also created some good goal-scoring chances and some goals off of just our set possessions and the movement. The collective movements that we're having, it's not just one guy pulling off a play, it's 3-4 guys working together to move defenders, to open up spaces for us to use those and create chances. So I think guys are having a better understanding of what it is that we're trying to do. Guys are fulfilling sort of their functions inside of these different actions a little bit better and a little bit more connected and unselfishly. And I think the net result of that is you get better looks. And then it becomes, even early in the season, we were getting looks. It's also about finishing those chances. And we've certainly been a little more efficient in that capacity. But I mean, I look at some of these games, we could have scored 5 or 6 the other night too. We had some really good looks the game before. We probably could have had another 3, Billy comes off and he has a count of every time he should have scored. So, and I think a lot of guys do. So there are opportunities there. But always chasing games makes things difficult. And having to score 4 goals to win a game is going to be a really difficult feat. So we've got to be able to win games 1-0, 2-1, things like that, or 2-0 would be nice. And that comes from us being just more stable on the defensive side. Then when we can get a lead, then you have a chance to build on that lead. So to me, it's about that.
Thoughts on Portland? They sort of turned things around. Following the coaching change, and I think 4 wins in 5 or 5 and 6 or something like that.
Yeah, they look good. They're they've gotten a little bit more aggressive in their defensive posture. They're a team that's always been really dangerous in the transition. But I think they aren't just dropping into a low block and waiting to kind of survive and transition against you. I think they're actually out and trying to create more transitions. They're being more proactive about how they're trying to create some of their opportunities. They're playing very direct and playing for second balls and then attacking you. They have a ton of team speed. They have athleticism. They have some quality in their group. I think they've evolved in a very short time, just in terms of being more effective in more phases of the game. Whereas before, I felt they were very reliant upon the transition and maybe some set piece stuff. And now I see, with the aggressiveness of how they are approaching games and their sheer just team athleticism, they're creating problems for the opposition. And so the other thing is they don't expose themselves. Their back 4 will stay really connected in the defensive posture, and they don't really open up a lot of spaces in and around the goal, which makes it difficult to score on them. So, a team that it can be that dangerous in the counterattack, that doesn't have to extend themselves defensively sometimes just in the back line, they can be hard to play against and hard to beat. And we need to play our way, be more disciplined, but we need to be able to move them out of these spots to open up our goal scoring chances. We typically against them do get our chances. It becomes now about executing in those moments, because they probably won't give you a ton of chances. You're going to execute in those moments, and we've got to control the transition game.
All right, thanks, Greg.
Yep.
Thanks, Greg.